Hello, my name is Sean Horton. I'm a student at JTech, and I'm going to talk a bit about engine systems and automobiles. As you can see here, we have a 4-stroke engine, overhead cams. It's got the short block assembly and the cylinder head on top. The 4 strokes involve the intake stroke, which has the intake valve open, exhaust valve closed, pistons going down, and air and fuel is being drawn to the cylinder. Second stroke is compression stroke. Intake valve is closed, exhaust valve is closed, pistons moving up. Just for the top of compression stroke, the ignition system fires the spark plug. Third stroke is power stroke. The intake valve is closed, exhaust valve is closed. Fuel is burning, expanding, pushing the piston down. And the final stroke is the exhaust stroke. Intake valve is closed, exhaust valve is open, and the piston is going up. After that, it repeats the cycle. Next, we get to automatic transmissions. Here we have a cutaway of an automatic transmission. Normally you'd have a flex plate here, mounted directly to the engine. Connects to the torque converter, which has vanes and fins in it. They kind of spin like 2 fans opposing each other. Creates force inside using the transmission fluid. Over here we have the gears. And you can see some of the planetary gears inside here. Down here we have the valve channels, which lets fluid flow into the different gears. Next, I'm going to give a brief overview of manual transmissions. Here we have a flywheel, clutch disc, pressure plate, clutch fork, and a throw-out bearing. So what goes on when you depress the clutch, presses down the clutch fork here, which lets pressure off. Let's go over the steering and suspension system. As you can see here, we have a strut and spring combo, which affects the comfortability of your ride. Here we have an upper control arm and a lower control arm. Over on this side, we have a tie rod, which connects to your steering control. Down here, we have a strut bar. And over here, we have a CV axle transaxle system. An important part to go along with your steering suspension is your caster, camber, and toe. Caster meaning tilt angle force. The camber is the angle it pitches in and out. And the toe is the lateral angle of the tire. Next, I'm going to give a brief overview of the braking system. As you know, when you need a brake, press down the brake pedal of the car. That sends mechanical pressure to the power booster, as you can see down here where the barcode's at. That converts the mechanical pressure to hydraulic pressure, which gets sent through the high pressure lines to each. As you can see here, the high pressure line comes down and feeds hydraulic pressure to the caliper, which causes the piston to expand, which creates pressure on the rotor via the disc brakes. Also in braking, they cover the ABS system, traction control, and emergency braking. Next, I'm going to talk a bit about the car's electronic system. It all starts at the battery, which operates on 12 volts DC battery. This, when you turn the car on, ignition, sends power to the starter, which in this car is hidden away deep inside of there. When the starting solenoid closes, it sends power to the starting motor. Starting motor helps turn over the vehicle. Starts going the belts. Belts start going. Turns on the alternator. Alternator generates AC current, which gets transformed by the diode bridge to make it into DC current. which then provides power for all the internal parts of your vehicle. Next time, I'm going to talk a bit about the car's HVAC system. You see down there we have a compressor for the R134 refrigerant for the cooling. We have a feed line, low pressure, low temperature, a discharge line out of the compressor, high temperature, high pressure. Discharge line goes to the condenser out here, where it rejects the heat the car absorbed from the inside. Then it goes down the main device where it flashes, goes inside to the inside coils, which absorb heat from the inside air to cool your car. And it comes back to the compressor where it repeats the process. For the heating, it's a lot simpler. It just runs through the radiator using coolant to heat some coils inside, which air passes over and rejects its heat into the inside of the car. And for a brief bit on engine performance, we have the same engine. It's just the timing, sparks, and all that affects the performance of the engine. The higher it's tuned, the better it's going to perform. The more torque and horsepower you can get out of an engine. This concludes my video. Thank you very much. Hope you learned something.